For all the gamers out there still playing NBA 2K19, I have a few tips that can help you dominate the game on the highest difficulty Hall of Fame. And these tips are going to help you win big, and also you could take them, transfer them, try to play online and stuff like that. But these tips are going to take you to the next level, especially against the CPU, which has unfair advantages. It almost seems unbeatable. Learn a playbook. Learn a playbook and a few money plays. Learn a few plays for your star players, but also players that can make certain moves. So if you have a shooter, learn some plays out of your playbook that can get the shooter open. This is going to take a lot of pressure off your offense. You're going to know what to run immediately, and also gives you the advantage because now you're not just playing a video game, you're actually playing basketball. Because basketball, you run plays, it's the real deal. It's not anything kind of, silly. I would say you need to have at least three money plays in your back pocket out of a playbook. Three money plays or just three plays in general. You know you could go through and cycle them through because the computer will key in on you. If you keep running the same play, they'll adjust. So three money plays, you kind of cycle them through. Advance the ball early and often. So once you get a rebound, try to push and get easy transition buckets. One of the key things which you'll understand about the computer is this. Sometimes if you're running up, the computer has this thing where it automatically sets guys to defend. So if you advance the ball to, say, a point forward or your shooting guard, you can get early offense. Also, you can get wide open shots because you're not contested. One of the key things, though, is once you get those wide open shots to really take your time to make them. So advance the ball. That's key. That puts the defense in a lot of problems, and it hurts them, especially in terms of defensive assignments. You might get some mismatches. Call plays early. Learn to call the plays early. So if you know you want to run a pin down for a player in the game, call it early. Don't wait till you set up top. Call your play in the backcourt while you're walking the ball up. This way, it gives you a lot of time to operate within the 24 second shot clock. And on top of that, what's good about that is, let's just say the computer keys in on your play. It gives you enough time to either A, run another play, or B, run pick and roll, run something other action. So this way you're always ahead of the computer, and your plays are getting ready to be run. Like, you already know what's going on. So call your plays early, preferably in the backcourt. Don't wait till you get into the front court or whatever the case is, and then you're like, oh, like, what am I running? Don't do that. Use right stick defense. Right stick defense is key in all the 2Ks, honestly speaking. In 2K19, the proper way to play right stick defense is, whenever you're ready to contest, you flick the right stick up like you're flicking your hand up. And the key indicator of how well you contest it is under your player, the little circle on your player. If it's yellow, that means it's a light contest, light to moderate. If it's red, that means it's a heavy contest, which is what you want. You want a heavy contest, but you got to time it correctly. So a lot of times in a post, you might mistime your right stick up. That's why when people say you should hold it in the post, I kind of disagree, because if you hold it too long, it might not register. So try flicking it and timing it correctly, but definitely use right stick defense. You don't want to use the triangle button, or I think was it Xbox is the Y button, so the regular block button, unless you're like trying to swat a shot from a small point guard with a center, because a lot of times that often leads to fouls and also puts you out of position. Once you jump with the Y or the triangle button, you basically at the mercy of the offense. They can drive to the basket, they can kick, they can just blow right by you. So definitely use right stick defense. That puts you in better position, especially to rebound. Learn the pick and roll. Learn what kind of dribbles you could use to take advantage of the pick and roll. One of the key things about the pick and roll as well is learn how to call pick and roll with certain people so you can actually pick on a poor pick and roll defender. So I'll give you a prime example. Let's just say you are the Los Angeles Lakers and you're playing against the Golden State Warriors, and Stephen Curry's not a good pick and roll defender. Call your point guard to come set you a pick, and then put LeBron, get LeBron the ball onto Steph, and then you could dance on him because he doesn't have great defense. So you get those switches and mismatches, but definitely learn the pick and roll, learn all the aspects, learn how to make guys roll, make guys pick and pop. Those things you could practice in the practice gym, and those be a tool in your arsenal. So that's you use the pick and roll when essentially your plays break down. If you can't score with your plays, you can use the pick and roll to either get a quick score or you get the defense to collapse and then you can kick out to open shooter. Learn a freelance, whether it's pace motion, whether it's horns. Learn a freelance. A freelance is really good, especially for your second unit. Your first unit, you're gonna be running all those plays. You're gonna be in a rhythm. But when you get that second unit, it's kind of really hard to get anything going because you might not practice with them that much, or they just aren't talented enough to run some of the plays that you're trying to run. So definitely run a freelance, whether it's pace or horns or whatever the case is. Those freelances will come in handy. You'll see that your bench will score just as much as your starting unit, if not more, because sometimes the freelance opens up things you're not really calling plays, so you don't have to wait for a play to develop. So learn the freelance. You could even use it with your starters, but the reason I say learn the freelance is for your second unit. Know your team strengths. Know which player can do what. That sounds simple, sounds kind of retarded, but look, go through their attributes. When you go to the substitution, you could toggle and you can see what each player is rated. So you're not taking threes with somebody who's rated 64 from three. Like that's not a high percentage shot for somebody that's rated 64% or 64 in terms of A, B, C, D, E, F ratings. You don't want to do that. You want to take shots with guys who are rated A plus, B plus from the three and stuff like that. So know your team strength. If your team's not a really good rebounding team, don't try to set all your settings to get off a whole bunch of offensive rebounds. That's gonna hurt you. You know what I'm saying? So these are the small things, but knowing your personnel. KYOP, know your personnel. Turn on both meters for shooting. When I say turn on both meters, I mean turn on the meter for right next to the hand and also underneath the feet, which is like a little two semicircles kind of hitting each other. You definitely want to turn on both those meters because the meter on the feet actually activates quicker than the one from the side of the hand. So a lot of times there's lag on the one that's on the shooting hand. So you eliminate lag and also you allow for a higher percentage of your shots to go in. So essentially you're eliminating a problem that's with the original meter. With the meter by the feet, you get more greens and also you learn about the latency, which is also a killer in that game. Of course, everybody knows about that. My last and final tip is to use the right stick to shoot at all times. I know this is kind of like, I hope guys aren't using the square, or I believe it'll be the X button on a Xbox, square on PS4. Use the right stick. It allows for you to make more shots. It's more forgiving. And if you time it correctly, even if you don't time it perfectly, but you time it somewhat correctly, 2K will reward you more than if you just use the regular shot button. Use the right stick to shoot shots. And a bonus tip I have about the right stick is whenever you get a player and it's time for him to shoot, make sure his feet are set. Even if it's just for a second, let him face the rim. Make sure his feet are set. That's going to give you better control of your shot, better control of the meter, and also help you to make more wide open shots. If you're missing out a lot of wide open shots, because you're probably on the move. And most players aren't really good shooters on the move. So you just have to let them set their feet a little bit. But those are all the tips I had to beat the CPU Hall of Fame. These tips, of course, transfer into playing online and everything like that. So hopefully you can use these tips, and if you're still playing the game, dominate, or you've learned something that it can help you in your season or even taking it online. Hoops Junction, where hoops means hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.